1. Growing relations between India and Vietnam are shaping Asia's balance of power. GS Paper 2, Bilateral, Regional and Global Groupings and Agreements Involving India and Affecting India's Interests. India's approach towards Asia-Pacific. India no longer hides its aspirations of playing an active political and security role in the Asia-Pacific. For political and commercial reasons, the region is critical to India's strategic thinking. But India may not be able to deftly integrate itself in the region, due to lack of consistent political will, steady military modernization and the galloping pace of the regional economy. However, New Delhi has been slowly expanding its strategic and economic heft through its Act East policy, Blue Water Navy and multilateral diplomacy. India believes that a strong India-US partnership can anchor peace, prosperity and stability from Asia to Africa and from Indian Ocean to the Pacific. Significance of Vietnam for India. In the evolving security context of the Asia-Pacific, one country that is key to India's sustained presence and role is Vietnam. In the last few years, Hanoi's diplomatic profile has grown in New Delhi's strategic calculus. India wants to build relations with states like Vietnam that can act as pressure points against China. With this in mind, it has been helping Hanoi beef up its naval and air capabilities. The two nations also have stakes in ensuring sea lane security, as well as shared concerns about Chinese access to the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. As Vietnam courted America while the South China Sea becomes a flashpoint, these three countries including India pondering how to manage China's rise. Growing relations between India and Vietnam. India seems now ready to sell the supersonic BrahMos missile, made by an India-Russian joint venture, to Vietnam after dilly-dallying on Hanoi's request for this sale since 2011. India's latest move comes at a time when the US has also lifted its long-standing ban on sales of lethal military equipment to Vietnam. India is already providing a concessional line of credit of $100 million for the procurement of defense equipment and in a first-of-its-kind has sold 4 offshore patrol vessels to Vietnam, which are likely to be used to strengthen the nation's defenses in the energy-rich South China Sea. India is helping Vietnam build capacity for repair and maintenance of its defense platforms. At the same time, the armed forces of the two states have started cooperation in areas like IT and English language training of Vietnamese army personnel. The two countries potentially share a common friend, the US. India signed an agreement with Vietnam in October 2011 to expand and promote oil exploration in the South China Sea and then reconfirmed its decision to carry on despite the Chinese challenge to the legality of the Indian presence. Beijing told New Delhi that its permission was needed for India's state-owned oil and gas firm to explore for energy in the two Vietnamese blocks in those waters. But Vietnam quickly cited the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea to claim its sovereign rights over the two blocks in question. India's state-owned oil company ONGC Videsh Limited not only expressed New Delhi's desire to deepen its friendship with Vietnam, but ignored China's warning to stay away. Implications of India-Vietnam relations to China. India is building formidable relations with Vietnam being its backbone against China. If China wants to expand its presence in South Asia and the Indian Ocean region, New Delhi's thinking goes, India can do the same thing in East Asia. And if China can have a strategic partnership with Pakistan ignoring Indian concerns, India can develop robust ties with states like Vietnam on China's periphery without giving China a veto on such relationships. Hanoi is gradually becoming the linchpin of this eastward move by New Delhi. New Delhi seems to be ready to challenge Beijing on its own turf. A more engaged India will also lead to a more stable balance of power in the region.